Winnings are. A lot of people want to win, but they don't want to do the work. He was like, enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the atmosphere because whoever wins this game will be holding up that state title trophy. College practices are at a different level. Some of these kids that think are Division I prospects in basketball, and they think, oh, I'll be ready for. No. The coaches call you, and the first thing they ask you is,
all right. Welcome, Bobby Tenorio, to the Young Athletic. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Bobby is the head coach at Oxnard Pacifica for the boys. Yep. And you just told me you're in season. You've started already.
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks. Yeah.
So how's the season going to go, you think?
Oh, I think we're going to have some success. You know, we're young, we're hungry. With youth comes a lot of still trying to figure out things. Mm-hmm. But I have some kids that are competitive and they want to win, want to take Pacifica where football's at, you know, which is the biggest thing. When you got kids that have that mindset, I mean, it helps us as coaches a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, to develop a culture of winning, really changes things.
Yeah, of course. I've always been, from the moment I started, I've always been one that's kind of known as trying to build a program. Like my first gig as a head coach at Malibu High School was building a program. Mm-hmm. And then I get hired at Santa Clara High School 5 years later, and it's like, okay, build a program, like you got to get this, at Santa Clara, now mind you, Santa Clara High School at the time, it was like a job that it's like, whoa, I mean, Coach Sianovich was there for so many years and won so many titles, and expectations are at another level at that school, when it comes to basketball. So to come in and try to at least make the program competitive again was it was a challenge, but it was fun, and now I'm trying to bring that mentality to Pacifica, that had it for a little while, and we were just talking about that, and kind of lost it a little, and now it's kind of like, okay, we got to get it back. If we can go even more, then that's kind of where we want to be at right now.
Is it set up the same way, like in the football? They have the regional and then the state title and like another state title, or is it more Southern California?
So no, you still play for a state title. Yeah, it's the same thing. So you go in. You play down here in the CIF Southern Section.
Right.
You win. You get an invite to a state bracket, and then in the state bracket you play, and then ultimately end up playing, northern teams at Sacramento, where the Sacramento Kings play at. That's
kidding.
That's where they. I believe it's still like that right now.
So like the state tournaments up there every year.
Yeah, all the games will be there. Yeah.
That's cool. So have you made that tournament lately?
So I've never made it to the championship. Our last year the only year I'd been there was in 2019 at Santa Clara when we won a CIF title. Then we went to the regionals and lost in the regionals. Yeah, to the eventual champion. Yeah, so it was a fun experience, very long season. Yeah. But we've been there. We kind of know what it takes. You kind of learn the blueprint a little bit. And obviously teams are different. You're going to have to tweak your style a little bit. And, at the time I had a kid that was 6'10", and another kid that was 6'6". So it kind of made it, quote unquote, a little easier. But now I don't have a 6'10" now, and I don't have a 6'6" kid. But I have a couple of 6'4s, a couple of 6'5s that you have to kind of figure out. Okay, let's see if this blueprint, we can kind of figure it out, and hopefully it helps us get to that next level at Pacifica.
Yeah, I mean, what's that like when you just have taller guys that you have to play against, or they're on your team?
Oh, it's crazy. It's that year going back to 2019 in Santa Clara, I mean, we just had all the pieces. We had a 6'10" center. We had a 6'6" power forward. Then we had a 6'4" or 6'3" small forward. Then we had two guards that were pretty good. And then our bench guys, our backups, I had a 6'4" center backup, and then another 6'3" kid, which, it wasn't 6'10" or 6'6",
Yeah.
but we were able to hold our own, and that's kind of what we're trying to do at Pacifica. I have a guard right now, Bryshawn McGee. He's a guard, but he's 6'4", and my tallest player is probably 6'5".
Wow.
So yesterday, it gets hard. Yesterday you asked me how we did yesterday. You said we lost by, I believe it was 5 or 6. We played a team, Sanger High School, and they had two kids that were taller than us, and it gets a little harder,
Yeah.
but just got to figure it out. Got to figure out how to beat those teams and how to counter. Because with height, it's less speed, and that's what we have. We have the speed, athleticism.
Yeah, the transitions.
Yep. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's always it's a game of chess. You just have to figure out how to make the right move at the right time.
So you're talking about you've had to build these programs. What are some things you've learned along the way, like to build a program versus just to coach a team?
I think starting from scratch it's kind of like you get to kind of pick and choose how you want your style to be. You don't come into a team that you kind of have to figure out, okay, I have to do this or I have to do that. When you start building a program, you kind of your style, you see the kids that you have, and you're like, okay, we can press, but we can't do this, or we can't press, but we could play half court man to man, maybe send a little trap here and there, And I think when you come into a team that's already kind of set, you kind of just input your knowledge into what the athletes are already really good at, and you try to shape in or sharpen the skill a little bit better to make sure that they try to get to that next level as a player and then as a team,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just took over a team mid-season, and so I couldn't change a lot of things, but you clean up here and there.
Yep.
Try to lessen the mistakes.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. We took over at Pacifica 4 years ago, and the program was a little down, and every coach has their ups and downs, you know what I mean? And we just stepped into the program. There's very minimal kids that kind of want to play, participate. Obviously Pacifica is well known for football, and our soccer program is pretty good as well. So, me and Coach Moon, Mike Moon, we just kind of talked a little and said, hey, look, I can get you some athletes, but eventually I'm going to have to get some basketball players, and that's just the way it is. And so at first I started my first couple seasons with athletes, with guys that played football, but also loved or liked playing basketball. And now we're starting to turn the wheel a little, to where now we have more basketball guys and less football guys, but I still have football guys here, a couple guys that want to come out and play, or like right now, Will Jones Jr. is one of his top receivers, a sophomore receiver, and he's one of my top guards. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, we got a kid that loves both sports, and you can't knock the kid for it, you know? And so me and Coach Moon just kind of worked together, and it's like, okay, I got to have him these days. Okay, I got to have him these days, and so on and so on, Yeah.
What are some things that have, turned the page for you? Like, for example, I got, a couple years ago, one of my teams, we got, 2 or 3 just good players that really, changed us. What are some steps for you that you've taken the last couple of years for Pacifica?
So I think, nowadays, kids have to believe in what you're selling, And I think for me, my, me having won a CIF title has helped me. The kids kind of believe in oh, then Coach Bobby's won a CIF title, and so I understand it was a smaller school or whatever, but it's a title's a title. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very hard to do.
It's very hard to win.
Exactly.
especially a championship game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the moment we got there 4 years ago, we had a couple of kids that came into the program that believed in what we were preaching and what we were teaching, and they were freshmen. So handful of them still play and are on my varsity team now, and they're seniors now.
Yeah.
And as the years go by, I've been able to get a little bit better basketball talent. Last year I was able to get two freshmen that were very good, which is Tommy Williams and Will Jones. And those two guys just helped Isaiah Dillon help me bring up the program a little bit more. Isaiah Dillon was one of my top guards last year and prior the year before that. And he was obviously a top receiver for Coach Moo on the football field. And now this year, we were able to get Bryshawn McGee, and he's a top freshman in California. So the kid is amazing, and he works.
You got him from.
He's a local kid.
Oh, okay.
Local kid, lives down the street from Pacifica.
Okay.
But you know how it is nowadays. Everybody's trying to pitch. If you come here and if you come here, and I just kind of let the dust settle a little, and I was really blessed to land him, and have him want to come and play basketball at Pacifica and help me build the program with Tommy and with Will. Yeah. All three of them are like best friends. They're like brothers. Okay. So that's already a plus, And adding to the guys that I have now, like Anthony and like Joel, and the seniors like Julian and Jaden, those guys, the seniors have been with me for 4 years. They've gone through the struggle. So this year I'm hoping that we can make that next leap where we can actually taste the playoff game, and maybe even win a couple games, But I think the past 3 years we were competing. I mean, our first year in the Channel League was brutal for us.
Yeah.
The league is a bunch of really good teams. I go from the Tri-Valley at Santa Clara, where you have to deal with like Santa Clara, St. Bonaventure, and maybe Thatcher here and there, and then you go to a league with Ventura and Buena, Rio Mesa, Oxnard, and then the three Santa Barbara schools: Santa Barbara, Dos Pueblos, and San Marcos. And it's just like, wow, it's completely different, So I had to adjust myself as well as a coach. Like, okay, I have to be more creative and more competitive, because you go from Santa Clara, where it's a smaller school of 180 kids, to now you go to Pacifica. At the time, it was 3,000 kids, right before Del Sol opened. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do? So we sit as a coaching staff and try to strategize, okay, let's have this tryout and let's see what we can do. Let's try to find the best we can do. And it's, we've come a long way. We've come a long way from now. We got kids that are believing in our program, believing what we want to do, and kids that ultimately want to come and help set a tone at Pacifica High School for boys basketball, because they want to do what football's doing, And it's hard. Winning's hard. A lot of people want to win, but they don't want to do the work, and it's very, very hard.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call.
Exactly.
Wake-up call. Where do you get some of your ideas for coaching, like your methodology?
I think throughout the years, just being around coaches, going to coaches' clinics. Believe it or not, I watch a lot of college basketball, and I watch more college basketball than NBA, because college basketball is actually still, more structured, more zones, more presses, more. And there's sometimes I'm like, man, look at that play, or look at this, or I wonder if that'll work, or then just stuff like that. I read a lot of articles online. I try to better myself every year, every day. I don't just sit there and let the talent do the work. I try to better myself as a coach as well. If you're not doing it, then you're cheating the kids. And that, I don't think that's right either. You have to, every year you have to improve. And in order for you to improve, you have to, it's like a class. Every year you have to try to graduate every year. You
have to give the best to your
exactly.
kids.
And I try to give my team my all every year. whether we're good or not, whether we're competitive or not. I leave it all on the floor. I always try to tell the boys, look, I am going to give you all my energy, but you guys have to do the same, you know? And so the boys now understand, like, okay, coaches are going hard. Like, let's try to pick it up a little bit more, or let's try to do this, or then they start calling each other out a little bit, and those are teaching moments, for us.
Are the seniors right now the first group you had as freshmen?
First group I had as freshmen.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to say I had 14 boys on that team, and I have 3 right now. So only 3 out of the 14 were able to stick with it. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, some of them are football players.
Okay.
So they're doing their thing on the football field.
Okay.
Some of them decide to work.
Yeah.
And so, and then just let's face it, some of them think it just got too hard. And it just, the demand, we demand a lot as coaches. And some kids like it or not. Some kids want to step it up or not. I'm very hard on my guys, and so are my assistants, but we love them to death. We love them to death. But we know that we have to try to challenge them as much as we can. We want to make sure that they're tough and that they don't break easy, because there's going to be games, believe it or not, this rivalry that football had or that we've all had with Oxnard. It's always been a one-way street. Oxnard's always been beating down on Pacifica basketball for years now. So the biggest thing is the boys want to compete against Oxnard. And they want to make sure that when they get on that floor, they don't break, because that's what Oxnard basketball does. They get on you until they make you soft and they break you, And so now it's like, okay, am I tough enough for this? Can I bring the intensity? Can I do what I need to do? Can I push my teammates to the limit? It's the stuff that we preach at practice.
Have you played them yet? Have you played Oxnard?
We have not played Oxnard yet.
No.
We won't see them till January. Yeah. And I think it'll be a good game. They're very good, very well coached. Jeff Stanley does a great job over there. He always has talent. I think I've slowly been bringing in talent to hopefully, knock on wood, but hopefully at least have a competitive game, because it's been ugly every year.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. They come in, they beat us by 20, 30, 40 points.
Is it the skill? Is it the aggressiveness? Is it the...
I think it's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's having guys.
Yeah.
They always say that, yeah, you could be the best coach, but if you don't have horses,
players.
You don't have players. And, you could be Phil Jackson. It does not matter, Now you're Phil Jackson, you have some players, and that's the difference, but it's more than just players. It's the mental side of things too. The moment you step on that floor or you walk into that Oxnard gym, it's like you're either going to be ready or you're not, because the moment they step on that floor, they already know they got your number. And that's where these guys have to understand, okay, are we going to break? Are we going to fold? Or are we going to show up,
Yeah, you can't lose before the game starts.
Oh, yeah. And that's what that's what had happened in years past, Yeah. But it's not just Oxnard. It's been Santa Barbara. And it's the building process, right? At Pacifica High School, of boys basketball. That's where we're trying to get to, where we don't have to, that we get on that floor and we can compete against these teams. Win or lose, give me a good competitive game. Give yourself a chance to win. A minute left in the game, down by 2, up by 2, up by 3, down by 3, whatever it is. We win, we win. We lose. But just know that, hey, we gave it all that we could, because that's the way I played when I was at Channel Islands. And all I wanted to do was just win. I didn't care if I scored. I got to the point where my teammates would yell at me because I wouldn't try to score. And it was just like, I just want to win. I want to win. Because I love everybody loves the feeling of winning. And I want to always make sure that I bring that feeling, bring that attitude, that desire, that willingness. These boys, my team right now, they're starting to learn those things. They're starting to take, okay, I can only do this, so this is what I'm going to be really good at. Or I know I can hit free throws, so let me go to the basket. And if they foul me, I know I can knock these two down. Whatever the case may be, everybody's starting to learn their role now. In prior years, had no chemistry. We had no, we were very, almost looked disorganized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I think of a lot like basketball and soccer are similar because the passing and the angles and the movement, very similar.
Yep.
But I coach kids, I coach middle schoolers, and I had high schoolers before, but you have to be very specific on what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Very specific on where the ball should go, what needs to happen next. Are you coaching those things, or are you giving them more license to make their own decisions?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think I am very hard on my point guards because a point guard is a position that's me on the floor. So I'm very demanding of those guys. And if they can't handle me demanding, then they can't play at the next level, So when you're very demanding on a point guard, they already know, okay, coach needs this, or coach needs to see this, coach. It gets to the point where it's second nature, and I don't really have to be telling them, hey, let's run this, or hey, run two, or hey, whatever it is. They just come down and they set them up and let's go, And that's kind of where we're trying to get with this team. My point guard is Tommy Williams. Very, very elite ball player. Very elite ball player. And but he's learning the position this year. There's times where he kind of gets a little shook, but then there's times where he just shows, flashes of eliteness, that only certain kids, a handful of kids around the area have, and that's just the way it is. He's learning a new position. He's always been an off guard, and then he comes from an off guard when you're coming off screens or you're doing this to now you're the guy that's trying to get the ball to those guys, and it's been a work in progress. And he's going to be great. He's a great attitude, great kid, great parents, great support system. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, too. And I'm not sure if Coach Moon mentioned this to you of his success, but it's not just us coaches. I mean, it has to come from the families, too, Family supporting you, family supporting what you preach, and families being there for their kids, families, It's a whole thing, It's a whole thing. It comes from the bottom all the way to the top.
But yeah, I mean, it's our kids don't drive themselves. It's the parents.
Exactly.
If they're late, it's not because of the.
Yeah, it's
typically not because of the kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we try to hold, when it comes to stuff like that, we hold the kids accountable to those things. It's like, okay, we have practice at 4:00. Don't walk in at 3:59. Like, what are we doing? It's just not going to happen. Those things don't happen,
That's one of my biggest
pet
peeves.
Yeah.
Just come to practice on time.
Be here early.
Yeah.
Be early. Be there 10, 15, 20 minutes late. I mean, early. Don't be there 20 minutes late. It's like, or coach, I'm on my way, and it's 3:58, and we start practice at 4:00. And those have been some things that I've been trying to clean up throughout the years at Pacifica, because it almost seemed like it was allowed in prior, before I got there. And it's just like.
Do you have a handbook?
I actually have rules, expectations. I have stuff that I've gathered up through the years. Yeah. When I first started coaching at Channel Islands, I was there for 2 years. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just a very energetic guy that loved basketball, and I was just cheering them on, and I knew how to do a 3-man weave. I knew how to play obviously a man-to-man defense, a zone defense. I knew how to run a motion, but I was an assistant coach with a lot of energy. The coach gets let go, and they hand me the keys.
Wow.
At 24, I have no idea what I'm doing. Not one. I've never ran a high school program ever,
Yeah.
So I'm just in shock. Like I don't know what to do. So luckily they hired someone older, someone with a little bit more knowledge, and Coach Williams was very good for 2 years. I was his assistant. He let me do a lot of the coaching, a lot of the teaching, and that's literally where I started learning. I would try something. If I didn't like it, I would trash it and try something new. And it was like kind of like Channel Islands was kind of like my guinea pig. If it worked, I kept it. If it didn't work, I would throw it away. And I know you're not supposed to be like that,
I do it all the time.
but I was young. I was like, you know what? This play has to work, and if it doesn't work, I'm not using that ever again. But I never knew, like, okay, well, it's not working because the defense is countering what you're trying to do. Like, it never came to my head, like, okay, he's denying that pass, or he's denying you, he's bumping the cutter, or whatever the case may be, right? I was just I was very young, and like, why isn't it working? Well, I'm coming off of that screen, and there's still a guy on the guy. Like, what's going on, Trash it, and till I came to Pacifica in 2006, and I was an assistant under Abel Morales and Jeff Pike, which they're still teachers at Pacifica, but they don't coach basketball. And I learned so much from them. How to run a program, how to have a practice schedule. I never had a practice schedule. I didn't know what a practice schedule was. I didn't know how to break down a practice schedule. Learned that from them. I didn't know that, we break down practices into drills. We kind of just were all over the place at Channel Islands. Mind you, I'm young. I'm trying to learn. Okay, we got to do this. Okay, let's scrimmage now. And it was all bad. But I think for me at that time, that's how I felt like, okay, I'm getting to these guys, So I think for me at the time, I felt like that worked for me. But ultimately, in the long run, that doesn't work. You got to prepare yourself a little bit better.
Yeah, you learn as a coach.
Yeah.
Just like you learn as a player.
Yeah. And going under these guys, they taught me a lot. They taught me how to be more competitive. They taught me how to win. They taught me how to just break down film, because I never once watched film. They taught me how to do a scouting report. I never knew how to do a scouting report. So then 3 years later, when I got my first head coaching gig at Malibu High School, I was able to bring those tools with me. Yeah. And now I'm at Malibu teaching these rich kids how to play competitive basketball.
How was that?
Oh, it was awesome. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I reached out before I applied to the job. I reached out to the prior coach that was there, and I asked him, "Hey, how's that job at Malibu?" He said, "If you don't care about wins and losses, perfect gig, and especially for you since it's going to be a startup job, a resume builder. It'll be great." It was the best 5 years of my life. I learned a lot from those kids. I taught them how to be tough, have grit, just be hard nosed. Mind you, you're teaching basketball to kids that have everything, and then I'm a Mexican from Oxnard that has worked, for everything, and you're trying to come and try to teach these kids that have everything how to be competitive and how to be dirty, I got to them. We as a staff were able to get to them. We ended our third year. We ended up winning the league title there, and it was awesome. We won 18 and 8 that year, and like the prior coach said, it was a resume builder. Then opened up the door for me at Santa Clara High School. And
were you commuting from Oxnard?
I was.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would leave work at Pacifica and then pick up my assistants off of the PCH, and then we would just take off to Malibu every day for 5 years. Yeah.
I just started an additional coaching job in Calabasas,
Okay.
so I've been commuting, and I don't mind it. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of
Well, it's kind of relaxing.
it is
Yeah,
relaxing.
it's chill. Everybody thinks that the high school's over by Pepperdine, and it's not. It's like you're on the PCH and you pass that first light where the gas station's at, and it's the next light to the left. So it's like a 30-minute drive, if that. It's not too far. And the only thing about it is like when we had to, our league consisted of Nordoff and Carpinteria, so Bishop Diego out in, so those drives back to Malibu in the bus and then coming back home, I was getting home close to midnight sometimes, and it's just like, but I was doing it because I love the game. I love to coach. I wanted to get to that next level, and that next job, and when that job opened up at Santa Clara and I applied for it, uh, I didn't think I was going to get it, but I applied for it because at the time, this was, I want to say 2013, 2014 or 2015. So the Santa Clara job was still a big time job, for basketball. And not saying that it's not right now, but at that time, they were still very competitive. Coach Sianovich was still alive. He was around campus. Everything was, he was there. And so you want to do everything that you can for Coach C, I mean, he's the reason Santa Clara is what Santa Clara is, and so when I got offered the job, I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. My assistant, Albert Soria, is an alum at Santa Clara, so he was excited that we got that job, and once we got there, it was like, okay, it's time to work. Like, what do we need to do? Luckily I'm a Oxnard kid, born and raised in Oxnard, so I kind of knew the community a little bit, and I was able to meet some kids, and just throughout the league that Santa Clara hosted, I was able to keep some of those kids to come to the high school. I was able to have some of the kids from local junior highs come visit the school and have like a saint for a day where they kind of act like if they're students and kind of see what it's about. And we were able to sell the program, and ultimately, 5 years later, we were able to win a CIF title. And it was won 20 years later. I mean, it took the last CIF title that they won at Santa Clara was in 1999.
Wow.
And then we won it in 2019. And then we won it the year that Coach Sianovich passed away, too. So that was it was very meaningful.
Yeah.
It was a very, very meaningful season with a lot of intent. The kids kind of had a goal. They decided they wanted to wear red socks all season to honor Coach Sianovich. So that's something that we did all year, including coaches. And, it's hard to go out and win a state title. It's very, very hard. We played this team from Bakersfield, and the coach told me, enjoy the game because whoever wins this game is going to win the state title.
Really?
And I was like, really? He's
This
like,
is mid-season?
No, this was the year the right before the game started.
Okay.
I met the coach and we were talking, and he was like, enjoy the game, man, enjoy the atmosphere because whoever wins this game will be holding up that state title trophy. I was like, really? He's all, yeah, I've seen you play. You guys are good. And I've seen the other teams. He's like, both of us can beat those teams. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. They were the eventual champion. Yeah. So it was fun, a fun ride, and I'm trying to bring those memories now to Pacifica,
Yeah.
And try to do what Coach Moon is doing,
Yeah.
You
talked about obviously your love of coaching, but your love of basketball. Where does that come from? How long you've
Well, it's funny. My favorite sport is soccer.
really?
I love soccer. My dad played soccer all his life. He was a goalie, taught me how to play. So obviously, since he was a goalie, I wanted to be a goalie. So I played goalie, growing up. And then My dad has land in Mexico. We built a house in Mexico. We decided to move uh, to Mexico. And it's funny because when I got to Mexico, I stopped playing soccer and I picked up a basketball. And
That's
that's when I
yeah.
started playing basketball.
Usually not. That doesn't happen.
No, never. All my friends in school played basketball and none of them played soccer.
Really? In
Yeah,
Mexico?
Mexico.
They all
Yeah.
play basketball.
All the friends that I went to school with, they all played basketball. Let's go to the park. We go to the park. At lunchtime, we would play basketball. So that's kind of where it all started.
Were you in high school?
No, I was in elementary.
Elementary.
Yeah, I was in 5th grade.
And that's when you started playing?
Yeah, 5th grade. Yeah, and then we moved back, made a quick pit stop in El Paso, Texas. Lived in El Paso, Texas for 2 years. Played junior high ball there for 2 years. And then we moved back to Oxnard. Went to Channel Islands from 95 to 99. I played there for 4 years.
But you didn't play soccer again?
Never played soccer again. Wow. Yeah. But I love soccer. And, and I think most of it is probably because my dad enjoys soccer and he loves soccer. And that's a time that we could probably enjoy together the most, sitting there watching the soccer game. And, not saying that he doesn't like basketball because he'll come and watch basketball games as well. But, soccer's a sport. He was born and raised a soccer player. And, he had a chance to make it big, but I was born, so.
I wonder if that came as a surprise that when he moved back to Mexico, his son decided to play basketball.
I'm pretty sure it did. And it's just funny. I always tell everybody, I love basketball, but my favorite sport is soccer. I love soccer, and like I said, if I've had a soccer ball in my hand since I was a baby, and
Have you ever coached soccer?
never coached
No?
soccer. I probably couldn't coach soccer,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think it's too hard. I mean, at least that's how I feel. Obviously, I know the sport, but I just don't. I don't think I could.
You also told me before the podcast, I asked you if you were a Lakers fan, and you said the Clippers.
Clippers.
And
Since 1998.
yes. Well, I was just, I saw on the news that they cut Chris Paul.
Yeah, I saw that.
How'd you feel about that?
Well, I just think, reading a little bit on the articles, I think he was trying to stir the pot a little bit,
Yeah.
trying to get some of these players against each other or against the coach.
He's kind of had that.
But he's always had like some type of like.
But is it just his leadership, or is it like you think it's intentional sabotage? Like,
I mean, you would hope it's a leadership, right?
yeah.
But it almost seems like he's trying to sabotage things.
Yeah.
And I like Chris Paul,
Yeah.
I like Chris Paul. He's a great player, probably one of the best point guards that's ever going to play.
Very smart player.
Very smart. But
You think it was the right decision? To
I think it was the right decision. I think we're too old. The Clippers are very old, and they thought they were going to be able to get away with it. And instead of building with the youth, we keep on getting away from the youth and trying to bring in older players. I think what the management needs to do now is try to go and trade for a player that's a little younger, someone that's kind of disgruntled, maybe like John Morant. He's available.
You don't want John Morant.
But he's younger.
He's younger, but
Maybe Ja would work. I'm trying to think of who else is available.
He can't keep himself out of trouble.
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
My biggest sort of observation is like Kawhi's got to get off this team because he's just been when he's hot, he's way up, but he's never there.
I think that some decisions that they've made 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, they just weren't thinking, man. Like trading Shea Gilgeous. Now, who would have thought he's what he is now, right?
Was he a Clipper?
He was a Clipper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a rookie.
So he was drafted by the
He
Clippers
was drafted by the Clippers.
and traded.
Well, they threw him in the package for Paul George. And now we have Paul George. Paul George leaves. And it's just like, It just never happened.
It's
you know?
funny how things work
Yeah,
out.
it's funny
You
how things
never
work.
know.
And now we had an MVP.
Well, it's like when OKC had Kevin Durant and
Russell Westbrook
Westbrook
and
and
James
Harden.
Harden. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
No, I thought that team was going to stay together. It would have been a nice little.
Well, they're such different people.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. I just really. Oh man, it's just tough because the next picks for this year, I believe, coming up and the following year are owned by the Thunder from the Clippers because of the
Because
trade.
of the trade.
So even if I think even if we tank, or even if we don't win no games, the picks are going to go to the Thunder.
This guy's got to get fired. The
Something
general
frank,
manager.
man. It's just, at some point, some decisions that and now mind you, I understand, I get it. 8 years ago or 7 years ago, whenever this thing happened, you're not thinking we're not going to win a championship. They thought they had a all-star team with Kawhi and who else was on the team? Kawhi and Paul George, and they thought, okay, this is going to be our winner right here. It just didn't happen.
I just wouldn't have made that trade for Kawhi. I'm just not a Kawhi fan. I don't know why.
I love Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah?
I met Kawhi Leonard when he was at San Diego State,
Oh, yeah?
and I was coaching at Malibu. And his personal trainer, I met him as well. He was coming around at Malibu because one of his young guys was going to come to Malibu High School to play basketball. And so every time we would open up the gym to work out, he would invite Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard would come out and work out. Now, this was pre-NBA, so he was at San Diego State. Big guy, big hands, great kid, but times change, and they got to figure it out. And I just don't want to leave the fans. Man, I've been a fan since 98. It's just like my cousins always tell me. Well, one of my cousins is like, he's a diehard Laker fan.
Yeah, everybody's a Laker fan.
Why are you a Clipper fan? And at the time, it was I was in high school, so I was like, I'm a Clipper fan because you're a Laker fan, so I'm just going to go against you. And I just stuck with it. And I wrote it out, and they were good a few years, and then sorry again, and then good again, and terrible again.
I mean, when's the last time they won a championship?
They haven't.
Never?
Yeah. Not that I know of. I mean, maybe when I wasn't born.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they've won a championship. But yeah, that's one thing I would not go to the Lakers though, because then everybody would think I'll be a bandwagon fan. If I were to ever become
I mean, I get it, but it's also like you can't. If it's just a bad owner and a bad GM and a bad organization, at some point you just have to say, I gotta go somewhere else.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I didn't do it in the Kobe era, and I mean Kobe was great, Shaq was great, but I loved watching those battles, with the Sacramento Kings and all those guys. Those were good battles, and but I don't know if I can.
So you're sticking to.
At least for right now, yes.
Right now.
See what happens. Maybe give it one more year and see what happens. Yeah, and see. I mean, I'm very committed. I'm very faithful, man.
You go to Clippers games?
I've gone to a few. Yeah, I haven't gone this year. I haven't actually gone to the Intuit Dome at all.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to get to a game. But I'm a Clippers fan. I'm a Niners fan. Giants fan. San Francisco Giants fan.
Okay, not a Dodgers fan.
Not a Dodgers fan.
Interesting.
It's another thing. It's like you go for the Dodgers, and now you're a bandwagon fan.
I mean, there's a difference though, because you're from here. You're not from San Francisco.
Yeah, but my friends are not going to be like, oh, you're.
Well, why were you originally a Giants fan?
Actually, I'm a Niners fan and a Giants fan because one of my good friends said, "Who do you go for?" And I was like, "I don't got no team. Just go for the Giants and go for the Niners." All right.
This friend, you guys were down here?
Yeah,
And why
He's
was
been my buddy since
why was he?
forever.
Why was he?
I think he's always been a Niners and Giants fan. Yeah, so
I
I was
mean,
like, okay.
the 49ers make sense
Yeah.
because you had the Chargers down in San Diego, and there's no team here until the Rams. But
Yeah.
but the Dodgers, I mean, how can you be a
I'm not even a baseball fan like that, and to begin with,
yeah?
I'm more of a, okay, I'll wear the hat. I'll wear the hoodie. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'll watch like the World Series.
You
and
wear a Clippers hat?
I do have a Clippers hat. I have 3 of them, and I have 3 hoodies, and I will still wear them. I don't care. You know, it's funny. Last year I went to Seattle, and we ran into the Clippers because they were playing it was like a exhibition game.
Like at the airport or something? What do you mean?
No,
you
we
ran-
were in town.
So you watched the game?
Going to the Space Needle, and I ran right into to the Clippers. They were running. Some Coach Lou and a lot of the assistant coaches. They were like exercising. They were running, and I had my Clippers hat on, and I was like, "Hey!" And then he looked at me. He's like, "Man, I'm gonna take a picture with you because you're the only one that has a hat here." So we took a picture.
No way.
Yeah.
With the coach? With
Yeah,
the...
with Ty Lue. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was fun. Fun day.
He should have invited you to the game.
He should have said, "Come to a practice.
Yeah.
Sit down, watch us practice." He probably had no idea. Obviously, he had no idea I'm a coach. So, but you know what? I have gone to a Clippers practice.
Yeah.
I have sat there and watched when Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan were there.
Yeah.
And I've sat through a practice and watched them practice. I've done that. One of the assistants, he's no longer an assistant, but he was a good friend of mine that I met through a clinic, and I just stayed in touch with him all the time. And I reached out. He always said, if you ever want to come to a practice and sit in and just watch us do what we do, just, send me an email. Sent him an email one day, and he's like, yeah, come through. Boom, went out there, went to the Clippers facility, sat there for about 2 hours, watched them practice.
That's cool.
Yeah, pro practices are different than college practices because I've gone to college practices as well.
Yeah.
I've gone to San Diego State. I've driven all the way to San Diego.
Is the intensity of a pro practice the same as college?
No,
Yeah, that's what I figured.
no, college practices are like at a different level. Like some of these kids that think are Division I prospects in basketball, and they think, oh, I'll be ready for. No,
They should go watch.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's just, they're constantly talking, constant energy, constantly moving, constantly doing something. It's just, they're never just standing around. Everything's always something. Boom, all right, let's go. Boom. And then it's just yell, clapping, running, just cheering for the teammates. It's just, it's a different level,
Have you ever thought about coaching college?
Yeah. I just think it's too many politics. But I think at the right place, with the right coaching staff, whether I'm a head coach or an assistant, I think I'll probably still do it at the right place. But I would have to have a coaching staff that I knew would be as eager and as hungry as me to try to, recruit kids and try to sell the plays. And because I'm all in when it comes to stuff like this. Like I want to make sure, like if we're gonna be the next coaching staff at wherever, okay, we gotta go all in, and it has to start with the coaching staff. You got to build a good coaching staff, whether I'm the head coach or not. If I'm just going to be an assistant, that's totally fine with me. But everything has to be like top notch. Like it can't be a halfway thing, Halfway thing don't get you anywhere. It's in sports and in life, that. It's everything, and that's one thing that I always talk about to the boys. Basketball, coaching basketball, playing basketball. It's not just about like winning and losing. It's life lessons, teaching you about life, learning why, doing these things because, that's the biggest thing. It's everything's a life lesson.
Even just like learning how to get better at something.
Exactly.
Showing up, committing to
Being
it.
on time.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Being on time. You don't get on time, you're gonna get fired at work. You know? I mean, yeah, they might be like give you a warning and be like, hey, make sure you're on time next time, all right, Bobby? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. Blah, blah, blah. But if you're constantly late, job's gonna be like, man, I'm just gonna go hire somebody that's actually committed. Communication. It's another big one. You can't communicate, how are you gonna work? They're not gonna hire anybody that's just mute and standing there, It just doesn't work like that. That's why I always try to tell the boys, it is very important to talk on the court. This is just not just helping you for now, it's helping you for down the road in life. You got to be able to speak for yourself and speak for your family and, defend yourself and defend your family. And that's what your voice is for, You're not just going to stand there and be like, okay. It just doesn't work like that. You just have to be level-headed. You have to be grounded. You gotta know what's right from wrong, and you have to be able to do those things. It's life.
Yeah, you got to master the fundamentals.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Have to be good at fundamentals. You can't just jump in to something and you don't know what you're doing, but you think you know what you're doing. It's just gonna be all over the place. And some of the kids, whether it's football, basketball, soccer, whatever it is, they tend to want to skip steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't skip steps. Winning's hard. Everybody wants to skip from losing to, all right, let's go win. No, you have to work your way up. Once in a while, you will get that team that it's like, man, like they just got there like that. But you can ask this to Coach Moon. It took him quite a few years to get where he's at now. And it took me 5 years at Santa Clara. 5 years. This is my 4th year at Pacifica. It's not months. It's not days.
Yeah.
It's years. Yeah. And people tend to forget sometimes. They think that we want to lose. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. It's a step by step. And then you get blessed with athletes. And once you start getting your athletes, like I've gotten Anthony and I've gotten Tommy and Brian, Will, and I've gotten these guys, Joel, Julian, and Joel, and all these guys. Now you're starting to see, okay, the proof is there. You just gotta keep working. Gotta keep working. Now you're starting to get little horses. Now you're starting to compete. Now you're playing a school in LA and it's like, okay, well now it's a scouting report. Now we have to worry about 10. And now we have to worry about 2 and 3 and 4. Last year we didn't have to worry about those guys. Well, now we do. It's the process.
Yeah, it is a process.
It's a process.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does.
They just changed the rules for soccer. It used to be by age group or by year. So like all 2015s, all 2016s, all 2017s, and 2012s, whatever. Mm-hmm. And now it's like the middle of the year is the cutoff instead of the end of the years. Oh, okay. So all the teams are being reset. And it's like all of these processes have to start over again. And it's like, that's what I came from today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
you got to start all over.
We're just restarting the process right now. My God. After the years that you built with your team.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It just, it's, people don't, like parents and fans, they don't see the behind the scenes stuff, All they see is the hour and 20 minutes of basketball game that we have around the lines. And that's it. But they don't see the stuff that we do at practice. They don't see what we do in the film. They don't see what we do in the weight room. They don't hear what we talk about in the team room or how we call people out. How we how they call each other out. They don't see those things,
Yeah.
you know. Therefore, they think, oh, we should be winning. You have this guy, you have this guy, you have this guy. I don't even understand why you have 4 losses. No, it does not matter. You know, yes, I do have some top players. These top players just came from junior high. You know, they're freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah.
In junior high, they were dominating. You know, and now you come and you're playing a man now, a 17-year-old man that's going to move you around and going to give you a little elbow here and there. Or that's going to rough, or you look at him and he's twice your size. And now it's like, okay, well, now I can't jump over this guy. Well, no. 'Cause now you got to use your head a little. You know, and it's a process. You know, but it's a process for the player as well, right? I mean, he comes in as a 15-year-old that everybody knows, or 16-year-old that everybody knows, or now you're 17 and a half years old, senior, and it's like, oh, wow, look, he got so much better because he just did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
You know, he went through the process. You know, you can't skip the steps.
Yeah.
You know, once in a while you'll be blessed and get someone that's amazing already, right? But that's a needle in a haystack.
You can't wait around for that.
No, you can't wait around for that. You have to help these kids develop mentally, physically, every way, you know, on the court, off the court. Coach, I need help. See, I'm not just Coach Bobby on the court. I'm also Coach Bobby at work. You know, I work at Pacifica. So, Coach Bobby, can you help me with this? Okay, I got you. Coach Bobby can, and that's why we do it, right? Coach, oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me talk to Coach Moon. I don't know what to do right here. Here I go. Let me go see Mike. Hey, Coach, what do you got on this and that? Oh, just send it to me. We'll help them out together. Okay. Boom. Coach Moon has been such a blessing for me because in any way, in any aspect, I need help in anything, send him to me. Or come bring him with you. We'll sit down. We'll figure it out. Let me help him for you. Don't worry about it. Boom, boom, boom. You know, he knows the public system a little bit better than I do because I've always been in a smaller private system, you know, and it's a little bit different. You know, like making sure these guys are always taking qualifier classes, especially the ones that have aspirations of playing at the next level, whether it's D1, D2, D3, whatever it is. But you still need qualifying classes, you know. You need to make sure that you have transferable credits.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of coaches focus on that, you know, and we try to do that as much as we can. You know, that's why I always tell the boys, look, we're here for you, not just as Coach Bobby on the court. We're here as Coach Bobby on outside of basketball. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what you need to do. You need to do your NCAA clearance. You got to make sure you get this done. Got to make sure you get all this in. You got to make sure you do that, you know. And I really hope all the coaches are doing that. But I don't know if they all are. You know, I mean, I just got to worry about what I'm doing, you know. Yeah. The biggest thing I always try to tell the boys is they got to make sure they stay current with everything. They got to make sure they have over a 3.0. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. You know, because coaches are going to look at, you know, when I was at Santa Clara, I had my 6'10" kid was getting recruited. You know, he had Texas Tech and he had TCU, UCSB. You know, he had a lot of D1 scholarships. You know, but a lot of parents don't know. The coaches call you, and the first thing they ask you is, how is he as a kid? How are his parents? And how are his grades? Before they even come and watch him play basketball. You know? And if it's worth their time, then they'll come. Oh, you know what? Yeah, he's a 3.0 student. Oh, great parents. We don't have to worry about the parents. Parents are great. Very supportive. They ask these questions. How supportive are the parents? Great parents. Great parents. You don't have to worry about the parents. You know, they're top notch. Okay, do you have available? You know, I had a UCLA come out to one of my practices, sat in the practice. Colorado, flew out from Colorado, sat into the gym, watched one of our practices. You know, but they want to make sure they cover all their bases before they actually fly out, you know,
Right.
and before they waste 2 hours of their life Because once you get to college, you're an investment. And it's unfortunate that you see, but that's just the way it is. It's a business. If you can bring winning mentality, and if you can bring winning and competitiveness, they're just gonna get rid of you because it's your job on the line now. And it kind of sucks, but the kids that have aspirations to play at that next level, they need to understand those things. If you're going here hard at practice here, you gotta go harder.
Yeah.
If you're diving on the floor once or twice at practice, you gotta dive about 5, 6, 7, or 8 times at practice. If you're talking and yelling, you always gotta talk and yell. Especially when you have a coach sitting in the bleachers, like I had UCLA and Colorado and UCSB coming down and watching us for 2 hours practice. You don't have that energy, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get up and say, hey, coach, thanks for your time. Give me a call if you have another kid. That's just the way they are. It's the true reality of it, And I've been there. Coach Moon has been there. Not a lot of coaches have experienced those things. But I'm pretty sure if you speak to a lot of high school coaches that have been through the stuff that have, you have kids that are prospects, quote unquote prospects. They've gone through the same thing that we've gone through. They want to know what you're going to do at practice, and then they want to know how their parents are, how they are as kids, and how are their grades before they even look at the skill. Before they even say, okay, yeah, he can be good for the Gauchos, or he could be good for LMU or whoever it is, right? I got 3 prospects right now. D1 prospects by Sean McGee, Tommy Williams, and Will Jones. Those 3 guys are legitimate D1 basketball prospects. But are they ready to take that next leap? You know what I mean? Yeah. Are they ready? Are they ready to make sure that if Arizona is interested in one of them and coach comes and says, hey, I want to come to your practice, are they ready to practice the way they need to practice? Because I don't want to waste coach's time, right? I don't want them to drive out here or fly out here and be like, you know what? I don't know. You know what? I don't know if you're worth it. Because I've also had coaches that have told me that. He's not our material.
Interesting.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me at practice. He's just not built for us.
Do you tell the players afterwards?
Absolutely.
You'd be like, we had an opportunity.
They need to hear the truth.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing them any justice by keeping that from them. If they need to improve in those things, I as a coach need to be better, and him as a player needs to be better as well. If Coach Jose needed to hear you more talking, I needed to do a better job getting more out of him. And then he needed to give more. So I want to make sure I don't fail the kid as well. That way next time I have Coach Lewis from TCU that's going to come down and he's like, oh, well, I heard from Coach Jose that he hardly talks. No, come on over. You'll see. We've been working on those things, and so sometimes, coaches, it's a coaches fraternity, right? Coaches talk to each other and they let each other know. Believe it or not, sometimes those coaches call opponents to check in. They might call Oxnard, or they might call Santa Clara, or they might call Rio Mesa. Hey, I know number 10 is your rival, but how was he? How was he as a kid? Did he pout? Did he go hard? Did you actually have to worry about him? See, I didn't know these things, but as the years come by, I learned these things, and I hear it from the coaches' mouth themselves. You know what I mean? They're the ones that tell me, oh yeah, I called Little Rock, and I wanted to check in to see how Roger did against you guys, or how you did against Roger, whatever the case may be. Oh really? So it even surprised me, Yeah. But yeah, those are the things that some coaches do, because they want to make sure that if they're going to be spending 100K on this kid, he's ready to go, and what, obviously they have to develop once they get there to what they need at their program. But at least they want to make sure that you have them ready for that development and that the kid himself is physically and mentally ready for that development, because there's kids that can play at, I don't know, let's say Loyola Marymount, but they can't play at UCLA because the coaches are different.
Yeah.
You might have a player's coach over here, and now you got a UCLA coach that's a pit bull. Well, he's not gonna, do well with him, but he'll probably do well with him. And that's just, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with soccer.
Yeah, you got to find the right environment.
Yeah, right environment
for the player.
And that's always advice that I give to the boys, especially the ones that have aspirations of playing at the next level. Go to the school that fits you. Don't go to the school because of the name. Don't go to UCLA because it's UCLA. Go to UCLA because UCLA is going to fit you, and you're going to fit UCLA. Don't go to UCLA because it's like, oh man, it's UCLA. It's a big time school. Hey, if you fit better at UCSB or at San Diego State or wherever it is, right? Those are your better fits. Take those. Yeah. Go take those visits. Because guess what? You're probably going to be a better player and a better person there. Because if you go to UCLA or USC or wherever it is, right? I'm just not naming those because those are California schools. And you don't do what you need to do for the coaches, you're just going to be riding the bench. And now you're going to be unhappy. You're not going to be having fun. The coaches are going to be like, man, what did we do? It's like, put yourself in the situation where you're going to be successful. Totally. Where you're going to not just grow as a player, but grow as a person as well. And then if you feel like, okay, by the time you're with all this whole getting the portal now, if you feel like in 2 years you think you're a better player or a better person and you can take on a bigger challenge, go for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's just kind of the way I see it. I've always been very open with the boys. I talk to these boys all the time. I have my off guard, Anthony Kalika. He's very committed to trying to make it at the next level, whether it's a Division I, Division II, or Division III. He just wants to play at the next level, and he's very committed. And he's another kid. I mean, he's such a good coachable kid. He's a great family, very supportive family, and that's one of the things. We go back to the whole family thing. It has to start from the bottom up, right? If you have a good structure at the bottom, the top will be pretty stiff, and it'll stand. So when you have families and you have parents that'll support you and that tell you, yeah, coach, get on them, push them. That's free range, right? You want to make sure that you're helping them in the long run. Because I always tell the boys, I said, I'm not here to get on you because I hate you. I don't hate anybody. Yeah. None of your coaches hate you. We're here because we know that you could do better than what you're showing. And sometimes you refuse to do those things. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But it's stuff that all the coaches deal with, right? Every high school, every sport. I'm pretty sure Coach Moon deals with it as well. But ultimately, they know, okay, if I want to make it, I got to listen to Coach. And I really hope that's how my boys feel as well. Okay, if I really want to make it, and I want to make sure that this program is successful and that I'm successful, we have to listen. We have to listen.
Yeah, I mean, gotta listen to Coach. Good, like coachable kids make a huge difference. Yeah. Huge difference.
Yeah,
they're just, I don't know, they're fun to work with.
Well, when you have guys, so I have 13 right now. When you have 13 boys they all have the same goal, it's easier. But when you have that one kid that just starts thinking about himself, then that just kind of veers everything off. In the past years, I've had, and not just at Pacifica, Santa Clara, at Malibu. You always have that one or two kids that, oh, I'm better than number 0, or I'm better than this guy, and it's just like, stop doing that, just be part of what we're trying to build, and you'll shine, like you'll shine, you'll be okay. Like, just let it work itself out, like you can't come in saying, oh, I'm going to score 25 points. Well, how do you know you're going to score 25 points? It's just like, I'm sure with you, with soccer, oh, I'm going to score 2-3 goals. Well, how do you know you're going to score 2-3 goals? You're playing opponents that always coach well and I'm pretty sure you deal with great coaches. Like I'd have to deal with great opposing coaches. Real Mesa's not just going to let us come into their house on Tuesday and be like, oh, yeah, go ahead, take the win. You're good. It just doesn't work like that. Coach Keach is going to have those guys ready. Coach Keach's a very good coach, and he knows what's going on and X's and O's and how to counter and, might not have the talent some years, or some years yes, some years no, whatever it is. His boys are always going to be ready, and they're always going to compete, and they're always going to play hard. So if we don't match that intensity, whether I have guys or not, you're going to lose, You're not going to compete. So you always got to match that, right, just by getting on that floor and playing the game. But whoever it is, I'm just saying Real Mesa because that's what we play on Tuesday. But
exciting.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave us with? We've been chatting for quite a bit now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you inviting me over. Yeah. I know we tried a few months back to try to get together. I got a little busy, and I'm pretty sure you got busy as well. And, but I appreciate you opening up the studio for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our basketball season. The boys are excited. We're here rooting on the football program. Hopefully they bring back the state title. Yeah. Hopefully Coach Moon and the boys bring back the state title. We're very, very, very proud of those guys, man. To do it year in and year out. It's just a perfect example of what we can do. And he's just setting a tone. Coach Moon does a very good job every year of setting the tone for every sport. And we have to try to match that tone, and we want to get to that. We got to make sure we do our part as coaches as well. But, it's like, football's a well-oiled machine there, Kids come and go. Coach does a very good job of sending those guys away and, opening up their doors for their dreams. All those kids want to play college. And that's what I'm trying to do for basketball, right? I'm trying to open up the doors for those guys so they can play some college ball somewhere. We've done it before. We can do it again. Yeah. It's taking a little time, but, all work takes time. Yeah. All work takes time, and, I really hope that my basketball team understands that, we got what it takes. It just takes a little time. Yeah. Don't rush the process. The process is the process. You can't skip, like you said, we keep on saying it. We've been saying it for about an hour already. You can't skip steps. Yeah. You skip steps, you start cheating, it's no good. You're not going to win. Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I've been speaking with Bobby Tenorio.
Yep.
Of Oxnard, Pacifica.
I appreciate it.
Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.